an amazing opportunity to meet people that in a way represent the very idea of RAJE. Russian American. This is really a couple that is Russian American. Rebetzen Ratner was born in Moscow. Rabbi Ratner was born in the United States in Cleveland, and today they live together in the holy city of Jerusalem. And they have an unbelievable story that I'm not gonna take away from them, but this is a story of inspiration. Please.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Katzin. It's always an honor to participate in your events, and RAJE, we get inspired by being involved in RAJE activities. Pleasure to be here with you. Erev Thanksgiving, it's time of giving thanks, appreciating all the brachas that we have, and we feel truly blessed. So I'll tell you a little bit more about ourselves and what we do and share a few ideas, because we are at a really engaging, intense time in world history. So as Rabbi said, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. My family's been in Cleveland 100 years, and we've been in the States. My earliest great-grandfather got here in 1868. Okay, so a real long time ago. And I went to Columbia University, and I think a lot of you are essentially first-generation Americans. Your parents came from the former Soviet Union, whatever. And so you're sort of still living the American dream, and it's exciting and engaging and challenging. And for me, it's like been there, done that. Like my grandparents lived the American dream, and so I wanted to get out of America, and I wanted to live a life of meaning. And so I made Aliyah to Israel in 1987 when I was 19 years old, looking to live the truth of my soul. And Baruch Hashem, that is the life I'm living. I have a great partner, my wife. My wife and I met in Yerushalayim through one of my Rabbeim. And we have a real lot of kids together and grandkids together. We came to America now to celebrate the birth of a new granddaughter. So thank you. So that's also part of our Thanksgiving celebration. So I'm a Rosh Kollel. I learn Torah and teach Torah every day, really. We celebrated 25 years of learning together, my learning group of Americans in Israel. And my wife and I run a training program in the field of cybersecurity. And cybersecurity is a field which has also a lot of meaning. It's about good versus evil. There's bad guys, the hackers, who are trying to take away our money and destroy society. It's the same clash of civilizations, of people who believe in good and believe in law and order against barbarians who want to essentially destroy everything. And so we have been doing this for 6 or 7 years. We have hundreds of students who are today working in the field of cybersecurity. We have a company providing cybersecurity services to companies and individuals in America and in Israel and elsewhere. And we got focused on certain projects. And when Russia invaded Ukraine a year and a half ago, it shook us up. I'd spent a year myself in Russia. In 1995 and 96, I served as Rosh Yeshiva in a Moscow yeshiva. My wife did not want to go back to Russia after she had gotten out of the Soviet Union in 1989, but I dragged her back there, kicking and screaming. And so it was a very enriching experience for me to see what it was like there. And Russia went through sort of a golden age recently, and now it's put itself back, again, in opposition to civilization. And we felt, what can we do? You know, I'm not an oligarch. I don't have a private army. How can I fight Putin, or how can I help the Ukrainians? What can I really do? What can an individual do to give meaning and to fight for what's right and to be honest with himself and express his moral convictions? So actually I spoke to Rabbi Katzin about it, and we consulted, and we decided that by welcoming Russian and Ukrainian immigrants to Israel and making them feel welcome, and working hard on their spiritual acclimation of helping them find a way to express their Yiddishkeit and to begin to acclimate in Israeli society, that was something we could do. So we made a Pesach program, and we rented a hotel, and we had families, Russian families and Russian students who came, and we were able to host them and bring them into our world and share with them. And it was really beautiful and meaningful for us as well as for them. And so we've stayed close to them. And we've celebrated, we've been Rosh Hashanah together, and we've celebrated on Sukkot together. We were Lag BaOmer together. So we've been able to share this sense of oneness, of unity of the Jewish people coming from all kinds of places. Now, what's happened with the war now in Israel? Israel's at a really precarious place in its history. And again, I've been in Israel for 37 years. It's a long time. And Israel is being reborn again. We're at a new time. The country that was is no more. And it's a new Israel. And it's just being born. And its future lies in front of us. And what's going to be the content, the values, the focus, the meaning of the new state of Israel? It's up to us, to you and to me. And we saw a beautiful thing. Was anybody here in Washington, D.C. in the rally last week? Okay, kol hakavod. So they say there was about 300,000 Jews there. And I saw my brother was there from Cleveland. He took a 10-hour bus ride. And my sister was there from New York. She took a bus ride. And from California, all over the place. And there, we saw the spirit of unity, of celebration, of I'm a Jew, and I'm part of this, and I stand with Israel. And so that number, though, that special number of 300,000, when on Simchas Torah, when the wicked Hamasnikim came in, did all the awful things they did, and we went to war, so there was a great groundswell from Israeli soldiers in Israel and all over the world. The Israeli army is built on reservists, not the active army. Israeli young men and women serve for 3 years or 2 years at the age of 18, but then they serve for another couple weeks or a month, a year, until they're in their 40s. So it's an army built on its reserves. And so everybody wanted to re-enlist and come back and serve in order to defend Israel against its enemies. And you know how many people there were? Approximately 300,000. Yes. So 300,000 Jews in Washington, D.C. at what I call Sha'arei Romi, the gates of Rome. Okay? Because in Midrashic thought, there's something called Edom, the Roman Empire. And today the Roman Empire doesn't exist, but America represents its values. And here they were at the gates of the White House, which are the gates of the Roman Empire, which is for us a sign of historical meaning, the end of days. And here you have Jews celebrating that they're Jews and we're together and we share values and meaning and love for one another and we're together. And there are 300,000 of them. And on the other side of the ocean, there are 300,000 Jews, men and women, who are coming to fight for their country. And if you take 300,000, you add it to 300,000, you know what you get? 600,000. And what's special about that number? That's the number of Jews who received the Torah when we came out of Egypt. Okay? The Torah tells us there were 600,000 Jews who received the Torah at Mount Sinai. And Rashi teaches us, Ki ish echad belev echad. They were like one person with one heart, a singularity of heart. They all shared the same sense of unity, of passion, of mission, of identity. I'm a Jew, and this is what I'm about. And so when we ask ourselves the question today of what can I do? And it starts a question almost out of despair, because the world's a big place and it's frankly a nasty place, and there's a lot of evil and a lot of destruction, and it's unappealing, but that's our world. And so how do I answer that question of where's my role? What can I do? How can I express the goodness that I feel inside? And that I'm a part of this. I'm a part of this historical process of the Jewish people coming home to our land and rebuilding. And again, the rebirth, like you could feel, oh, I missed it. You know, the Zionist movement in the 1880s, or the Balfour Declaration, 1948, the Six-Day War. I was born in 1967, right after the Six-Day War. So I missed it. the Yom Kippur War. I remember the Yom Kippur War. I was 6 years old. I went to Sunday school. And my Sunday school teacher said, you know, children, you're sitting here in Cleveland, but the Israeli kids, they're sitting in bunkers because they're being bombed by the Syrians. And that was scary to me. I still remember it. I was only 6, but it made an impact on me. So, you know, the Yom Kippur War and the things, but we didn't miss it. The big stuff is yet to come. And so we have an opportunity to be a part of history. And so the question of what can I do? It's not a question of yeush, which means despair, or, you know, what can I really do? No, we can do a lot, every one of us, by embracing the challenges that we have in our own life of what it means to be a Jew. And so if that means to light Shabbos candles, or if it means to learn how to daven, to pray, if it means to study Torah, to come to these classes, to embrace meaning, Jewish meaning, and accept my role, and to love my role as a Jew, part of a Jewish community. That's the light unto the nations, that we have the opportunity to be that. And because of what's happening in the world, and I know that you know, and you maybe know better than me about the anti-Semitism of the streets in New York, and people we know that we thought we shared values and they were our friends and we respected things, and they're turning on us and they don't share our values. And so we could sort of go with the flow and things seemed cool and it was okay. And it turns out it's not okay. The world is dividing between good and evil, and you got to take a stand. And so we have this opportunity at this unique point in history, and it's a dramatic time in history, where ili za, ili protiv, am I for or am I against? But you can't really be in the middle this time. You know, you have milchigs and you have fleischigs and you have parv. You know, you could think that you can't be parv right now. There's war, and it's good versus evil. It's civilization against barbarism. And so at this time, and we see some people have clarity. Even, you know, President Biden has come out with moral clarity and said this was sheer evil and it wasn't about the dignity of the Palestinian people or anything like. No, it was just about killing Jews. And so the clarity of, I'm a Jew and these are my people and I'm together and we are one and we're going to do whatever we need to do to see ourselves through this difficult chapter of history, to move into the next chapter. And each one of us can do our part in that way of embracing our Jewish identity and loving to be a Jew and celebrating Jewish life together. And that's a very, very meaningful opportunity that we have all at this time. I want to let my wife also share her thoughts. So I'm turning it over to you, Hannah.
So you hear my husband, he is very idealistic and very special. So I'm more like practical, but I'm also idealistic, you know, definitely born to a very idealistic family. And for me, I feel that like all those, you know, the soldiers are dying every day fighting. And every day we see on the news the name, and like it's another name and another name and another name. And I feel like they're fighting for me, right? They're giving their life for me because I live in Israel with my family. And they're doing so I would stay alive. So when they're and actually they're fighting for all of us and they're giving their life. So I say, what do I do? Like, why is my life so important that somebody is dying to protect me? What's the meaning of my life? And then, like, for me, I realized that, and I tell that to my kids, like, all those people who died, like, it was a light, and now this light disappeared because this person is not here with us anymore. So we need to pick up the light. We need to do something that they will stay alive, that their fight was not, that their life, that their sacrifice was for something. So how can I live different way? And I will tell you that I was born together with this war. Like, it's me before that and me after that. That's how I feel. Like, I cannot stay the same. And I'm religious since I'm 6. My parents, Balei Tshuva, they become religious in Russia. So it's not a decision I made for myself to be religious. That's how I grew up. But I think like a new me was born in it, and I was doing things like I was keeping mitzvahs. I'm sending my kids to study Torah and everything. I'm living a Jewish life all the time, but I think it's a different life since then. And the different life is like I can't allow myself just to be like calm and in the same place where I've been till now. Like I think that we all have to take on ourselves to bring more light into the world, because those people who gave their life, we sharing now the responsibility. I told all my daughter-in-laws, now everyone should have another baby. Fast now. Yeah. It's not something the mother-in-law should say, but I felt like I can control myself, like everyone immediately.
In response to people got killed.
I said, like, come on, now it's a time. Okay, so we need to build our families, and we need to continue building. I was never thinking about like we live in a beautiful home in Jerusalem. I was never thinking of like moving or buying apartment in the south. But now I said, maybe we should move. Maybe we should like build maybe we should build a community. Maybe we should we need to do something more. We can't just sit around and do nothing, because the responsibility on our soldiers, on our shoulders, and we need to do things. A funny thing that we did, again, we were like, me and my husband, we were thinking, how can we help? So tell about our agricultural experience.
In Israel, agricultural work, in America, it's done by migrant workers, Mexicans, also people like that. But in Israel, it's done by Thai workers, people from Thailand. So when the war broke out, some Thai people were murdered by Hamas, some were taken captive, and the rest of the Thai people in Israel went home to Thailand, 30,000 of them. So who's going to harvest the tomatoes and the peppers and the onions and the lettuce and the cabbage? So there's a serious crisis in Israel, having nothing to do with the military, but having to do with shortage of hands to harvest the crops that are growing and to plant the new ones, etc. So there's a great volunteer movement of Israelis, of all people from all walks of life. We have master's degrees, but we went out to the fields to weed the cabbage and the lettuce, and it's not fun. It's unskilled labor. You get your knees dirty, and your back
is really hurting you. Like it's hard
but
work.
That's what we did. We went on a Friday, and they were picking green onions. We cleaned the onions and packaged them, and then we went to we harvested parsley. And my wife, when we were weeding, she was killing the Hamasnikim. The weeds were like the Hamas, and so that was how she expressed it. And we were picking,
so many of them, I was thinking, oh, poor soldiers, like how they will finish them all, and they hiding under the ladders. They are like, surrounded by the civilians. No, they're like everywhere.
It's challenging.
And how do you do it so they're not gonna grow back? Like, when you're weeding, you're thinking about that. Like,
And then we got to harvest parsley, the covered Shabbos. So there's opportunities to do things, and everybody has an opportunity to do their part for Klal Yisrael, and there's a partnership, and everybody's a part of it. So
and what I want to say that, like, I think when you do good things in life, you never regret. Like, it's like when you just sit and watch TV, you say, oh, I wasted time. You just go to the restaurant, okay, you ate another pizza, it's fine. It's fun. So you can like live all your life just, going from one to another without really, doing anything. But when you actually put your act together and you go and you do right things, you feel so good about yourself, and your life is full of meaning, and you're just turning into a different person. So whatever you have, if you have an opportunity, you should try and think, because there are a lot of ways to help. It's a lot of ways to help, but if you're not helping others, you're helping yourself. You're becoming a bigger person. You're becoming a person who actually has a life. And by doing something good, you really becoming different you're building yourself. So it's definitely, I felt so good after, like, when I'm from Russia, I was born in Russia, my parents were refuseniks. So when I came to this agricultural place, I was thinking, like, when did I ever experience like something? Like, I never worked in a garden in my life. And then I went back and I remember that my parents in Russia, they had like a summer house, dacha. And I was thinking, oh, I think my mother used to do it. How was she doing it? Like, I was like trying to find in myself some kind of like a place where I know what I'm doing. And it was so nice because where we were, there were like 9 years old kids doing the work and 65 years old and 70-year-old people who came to volunteer. They were religious and not religious. And there were guys like he people are coming in and nobody really knows what to do, right? It's like everybody is like volunteering and like no one person knows what's going on, like for real, okay? So and the person that comes in and he says, like, I'm a head of company. I never did that before. Somebody can teach me. And I said, yeah, I can teach you. Not a problem. You just take the onion and you clean it. And that's all. So people from like all different social groups like are coming and just spending their free time doing something for the country, for Israel.
So there's an opportunity now of unity amongst the whole Jewish people, and we're all part of that. And so I'm concluding our words that we give you a bracha, that you use this unique time in human history that started with a great deal of darkness. But we're in the month of Kislev. We're already looking forward to Hanukkah, which is a time where we light candles. And in the darkness, we spread light. And a little bit of light can push away a lot of darkness. And so each one of us is a candle and can light a candle and can bring a lot of light and unity into the world. And so we look forward to seeing you in Israel. When you'll come, you have to start thinking about that. You have to start thinking, when am I going to go to Israel? Because we're getting near the end of the story. And at the end of the story, we're all going to be in Israel. So you don't have to come today or tomorrow, but you have to have it on your agenda. When am I coming to Israel? So we look forward to seeing you all, meeting you all in Israel, and celebrating good things together in the future.
I actually wanted to ask Rebetzen Ratner actually to make very important announcement. First of all, for our state, just look at it. We accepted as a reality that RAJE, as any other or many other organizations, are not running trips this winter in Israel because of the war. However, you have to dare to dream. You have to challenge the realities and make something new. So Rebetzen Ratner suggested, why don't we do what?
A trip to Israel and come and work and come and volunteer.
It's called a mission.
A mission.
And actually Olamni is making mission to Israel. So I think that RAJE should make a mission to Israel to volunteer and help. You can prepare food for soldiers. You can help harvest. You have our students. What to say even about this? I'm gonna just conclude also this. Rabbi Goldstein, his dear student, Rabbi Misha Norov, when the war broke out, what did he? Misha and his wife, what did he do? He called me and said, Rabbi, I cannot stay here. He's running a successful business. She's a pharmacist. You know who knows Misha Norov here? Do you know Misha Norov? Josh knows Misha Norov. Okay, and Misha Norov said, I cannot stay. I told him, you know what, let me think about it. Before I started thinking, he was already working as a volunteer in Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem together with his wife. He came recently to me and he said, you know what I accomplished? Because we work very hard and there are people around us are workers. And when they hear that we came, dropped our jobs, paid for the ticket, paid for our apartments, and we're not getting paid, we do because we love Israel, it inspires the entire hospital. He says, to see us, like they come and tell us, wow, what you do. So in other words, to bring the morale and what they contribute is much more than just helping here and there. Another friend of ours, Ross, what does Ross do? Anybody knows what Ross is doing? My son is in the army, both of them actually. Ross is in Gaza, a sniper, right near my son. He texted me and said, I'm right near your son. I said, oh, you speak with him? No, with different units. But I'm here. He's a professional sniper. What did he do? He has a daughter. He lives in Shipshead Bay, not far from RAJE Center. And she would not stay home. He just, packed his things and he's there. So we have, and more people are not staying home. So I'm not telling you need to drop everything, but you definitely should feel mobilized to the forces of light to overcome the darkness and evil. And I think that is, you should be so proud that you're part of a nation that does not commit to kill anybody, does not commit to do genocide to anybody, and we're not cutting throats, and we do these horrible things. So one Jew, actually, it was a Jew in Warsaw, and he left a letter. He was murdered by the Nazis. And in his letter, he said, I'm honored to be part of the Jewish people, and I prefer to be murdered than to be a murderer. So we don't want to be murdered. We want to be strong and healthy and live long lives and happy lives and lives of meaning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Good luck to you.